So I had been, like a few years ago, I started going to the gym. I was to become a grandmother for the first time and decided that I wanted to be a hands-on granny. I wanted to be one that was fit and healthy. Now, I was never really massively overweight or anything, but I was unfit. So I started going to the gym, did a weight loss program for 12 weeks, lost a lot of weight, lost about a stone and a half, and I really sort of managed quite well, continuing that journey. Then in May of 2021, I had to have emergency gynae surgery, which slammed me into full menopause. And I was not prepared for that at all. Every sort of mental or psychological symptom that was possible to get. I was fatigued, I couldn't think, I had no memory, I couldn't concentrate. I just had no energy throughout the day. If I did anything at all in the day, I could manage one thing and that was it. I really felt very stuck. I suppose it was the testimonials that from Gillian's other ladies who were saying things like, before I knew it, with very little effort, I was doing this and I was doing that, and I was back to exercise and the weight was coming off and I was feeling better about myself. And it was really the very little effort bit that appealed to my overloaded brain, because I couldn't face the thought of tracking, of exercising 4 times a week, of making healthy choices. It just seemed so overwhelming, and I just couldn't figure out how I would find the time for it. So at the start, there was lots of soul searching, lots of looking at your own interests, values, habits, things that were important to you. And that was exactly what I needed. It let me see that beyond the shadow of a doubt, I was only pretending to myself that exercise and being healthy wasn't important to me. It really let me see that part of the reason I was so unhappy was because I wasn't doing those things. And then we began to look at ways of introducing stuff very, very slowly. So, there was no changes really at all for the first couple of weeks, in the sense of, it was me simply becoming aware of what I was eating, when I was eating, how I was feeling when I was eating, what I was eating. And that very gradually began to switch the light on. So I began to realize that I did loads of mindless eating, not tasting food, not really even needing it, but just it was there, particularly the chocolate. And then, of course, once my brain got that hit, it wanted more and more of that. So even after a couple of weeks, I had reduced the amount of rubbish that I was eating because I was so much more aware of it. So from that early walking, we scheduled, really the maximum I could fit in quite comfortably was about 4 times per week, but we felt that was okay. But then I began to look at other ways perhaps that I could build in more fitness. So I decided then that I would start Pilates, and I knew that I wasn't very flexible. So I booked myself some Pilates classes. This was right towards the end. I had planned to do some home workouts, but about 10 days into the program, I broke my wrist, but all was not lost. So that probably made the focus on food a little bit more important than the physical, and the focus on the walking more important. I began to notice that I wasn't hungry, that I wasn't craving the same sorts of foods, and that I was quite satisfied. So that really made it easier to deal with the challenges. I'm much better organized. I would say that life is less chaotic. I am better at saying no to people. That was one of the things that was one of the light bulb moments early on, that it's okay to say no, and in fact I'm taking care of myself by saying no, and as long as it is no with a but I can do it at this time, if that works for you, then I wasn't letting anybody down. I wasn't feeling that I was being rude or unhelpful, because that is part of what I want to do. Gillian was very good at being able to spot when I was in a fluster. And she could tell by even the speed at which I was speaking or how breathless I was, and she would say, "Claire, just take a breath and calm." And I wouldn't have even realized that I was stuck to the ceiling. Not to the same extent. I knew that it would probably happen a little bit, but not. What I completely didn't expect was that the balance of it would be the other way, the opposite way around. So the mind transformation was by far the biggest bit, by far. I would go as far as to say maybe 80% mind transformation. Now, I haven't said that. I reached over 80% of my weight loss goal. And there was part of me, the perfectionist part of me, was a little bit disappointed that I didn't reach the 100%, but I had to bear in mind I'd broken my wrist, I'd had Christmas, and actually I knew then that I had the toolkit to move forward and do the rest by myself, whereas before I may have lost lots and lots of weight in a 12-week program, but I was hungry, and it was difficult to sustain once the program was finished. So, and actually the weight now is the least important part for me. It is how I feel about myself. I would say that you have to be prepared to give it 100%. I completed all the exercises, all the thinking exercise, all the self-analysis exercises, absolutely 100% and more. And you have to be really prepared to do that to get the best out of the program. I think if you want a quick fix, it's not the way forward for you, because if you just want to get into a diet program and exercise, it needs to be the other way around. You need to be prepared to work on the mindset bit first. And if you are, you will not look back.